All right, hello again, everybody. With Opera Omnia, this is Bishop again with Tier 4, the middle, the Reckoning battle here to clear this off and get the crystal plate. As you can see, I've already done it because this thing was a nightmare for me. As easy as right and left were, this middle one was terrible. It took me about 8 hours before I did it, trying to get it on recording. Actually did it off recording, and it took another 5 hours before I could actually get it cleared again on recording. I want to give credit to Jin Lee, the YouTube content creator and the DFFOO content creator, because this is where this idea kind of came from. So let's get into it here. This is actually a pretty good one of using Yuna, Tifa, and Setzer. If I'd had Vaughn, it's been a whole lot easier. This turned out to be a whole lot worse, especially this front wave. This was the worst part. So we start with Gabranth to break both of them, because the idea is we have got to get these guys under 79% right away. The big reason for that is the attack and the defense down, and then later up, Setzer's Freeze Joker are all generic debuffs. Storm Calling will wipe that off. If you get these guys under 79% before their first turn, they won't use Storm Calling here. I've seen boss guys that say they use it after their first turn. That's incorrect, and I saw that from Jin Lee's video, kind of looking at it, is he used this same type of team that I did, the primary ones here, Yuna, Tifa, and Setzer. And you notice there we put the freeze debuff on right now. So we're getting close. We got B, he's under, he's going to be good. The big reason for Gabranth as opposed to like Ferris or Jack is Gabranth was AoE and could break both of them at the same time. I tried it with Ferris's S1 call. She couldn't get rid of it. Now you see how long I waited here before I brought Dive Bomb in. Big reason for that is here in the early phase of this fight, Tifa can pretty much max Brave out damage with what she's doing. And so I didn't want to really run through, or what I saw there from Jin Lee, you didn't want to run through the fixed dice debuff early until you need it, because at this point they've got it. So the first thing you're going to be looking at is you're going to see me kind of wasting turns on this, like this beat rush that really didn't do a whole lot of anything, and you're going to see me do this here with the EX. At this point, you really don't have to worry about it. Just use your Brave attacks where you can. I was using skills in order to manipulate the turn order with this instead of using HP pluses and whatnot. And again, trying to get him to the point where I could get a break in here with this. So now that I've got them here, they're activated, I'm going to go ahead back in with the Kurosame debuff, get that one on here. And now the big race again. Now, if they get a second attack, they're going to use Storm Calling, wipe the generic debuffs. So this is why it's so tough. The second part here, if you get them under 49%, they won't use Storm Calling then either, and that will keep them from using the AoE attack, which is the big deal that we're trying to get rid of. If they get that first attack off, then they're going with all. Get them under 79 before their first attack. Get them under 49 before their second attack. This is where I was always having the problem. I could get one, but not necessarily the other. Turn order played a big role in that. As you see, I used that AA there to get both of them up, because I needed to get as many turns as possible in order to get these guys underneath the 49% threshold here, because then they'll wipe the freeze debuff, which is the big thing I didn't want. The other thing that makes this difficult is characters will jump all over the place for you here. As you see, I'm going right here because I'm working now. I got A under, I'm good. So he can have his second attack now. He's not going to debuff. B is the one I'm worried about, so I'm shoving him as far back as I can here with this. I don't remember which one. Okay, so I went ahead with Prismatic Flash because I saw that Yuna was going to get attacked here. I was hoping that that was going to get B with that, so I went with Cheer to give me that opportunity to get the breakup, because I wanted to make sure one more time that B got underneath that threshold. Now, thankfully, Energy Ray did that. I wanted to give myself an extra turn if I had the chance to do so. That's why I went Cheer when I really probably didn't need it. So I'm going here with Tifa to get as much damage as I can here, because now this is where she really needs to start getting to work. Get as much damage on these guys as you can at this point. And this is where she's going to make most of her money later on. The other stuff's going to be coming. Now she's clear of fixed dice. Leave that go for now. She's going to get as much damage as she can. You really don't want to try to spam Setzer's LD here. You're going to want it for later on with those guys in wave 2. So I'm really debating here whether or not to do it, because I wanted to, but I knew I wanted to hold on to Freeze Joker for now. Wanted to stay away from it, so that's why I went ahead with red card. I'm trying to shove these guys back as far as they can, because what I'm looking to do, and this is why I'm going after B here, I'm going to get the break and the extra turn here for this. I'm going to go to summon now, because you saw A no longer had the freeze. So as soon as they no longer have freeze, and this is why you want as many turns of freeze as you can, that's when you need to break out the summon. So that's what I'm trying to see right now, if Yuna is going to jump. Since she wasn't going to, that's why I went ahead and just did Energy Ray. Now she doesn't have fixed dice anymore either. Not a whole lot you can do about it. That's me again really debating whether or not to use Dive Bomb. Came in here with Brothers. You get an extra little delay here. Not going to stress too much anymore about, since they were getting ready to go with everything that we had. At this point, I'm just shoving back, shoving back, shoving back. I don't want that all attack to be able to give me any kind of problem, or at least that's the hope of what I'm looking for in order to do that here. That's why I go with the LD here with Yuna. I'm trying to get as much damage as I can, because like I said, Tifa's going to do most of the work here, because I don't have Dive Bomb, or I don't have fixed dice on anybody. That's why I'm spamming Tifa's Battle Cry and trying to create as much damage as I can. Beat Rush is where you're going to get most of your damage, but I'm trying to get her as many turns as possible, because even her Battle Cry will do more damage than Yuna's attacks or Setzer's at this point. So I'm coming out of some. I got a lot of time here. I'm in good shape. I've got 8 and 10. I didn't want to play around. I want to get these guys done. I saw Yuna had a bunch of Braves. Like, let me get an attack on that launch. I want to get these guys down. I want to make sure they don't get to yellow here. That's the big key. So I got to get them here early, trying to AoE as much as I can. As you can see at this point, without Dive Bomb, just the damage just isn't getting there. But like I said, gonna spam as much stuff here with Tifa as I can. That's why I went on B there first, and it's like, okay, at least I know I'm going to be able to get Tifa here. And my biggest concern right here, and this is why I'm going to go ahead and go with red card. I knew I would get more here with the rainbows than going with the EX attack, so I decided to hold it off. All right, so now you get through that first part. It actually, for me, got a lot simpler because of the call. So I'm going to start here with Gabron's LD call, again, to get some debuffs on these guys. I didn't play this second wave as well as I would have hoped of, especially in concern that Tifa didn't have much. As you see, I got the big nuke attacks here. We're going to get the LD, because this is where I'm going to start looking at trying to get to free skills. I should have used them more on my Battle Cry instead of Beat Rush. So I was pushing B back because of the turn order. He was just way, way up there. I wanted to make sure I could get Yuna up, because this is why. Wanted to get the shields up. Thankfully, as big a set of hits as these guys can do, they weren't able to break the shields. The bigger concern I had was running out of the shield buff, and you'll see that a little while later. So you see these guys, my wall is actually pretty stout, so I'm getting some pretty stout shields here to be able to protect the team, which I think for this is a big one with this. So one of the things, we're going to get Dive Bomb back on, let some more power go on here. I'm really struggling right now to go back and forth here between A and B. I'm seeing that Tifa's EX is up, but I knew A really needed to get some damage put on it, but I'm debating back and forth. And that was a bad play. I should have just used the skill. I should have went ahead and used beat rush on A. I was so worried about B, and at this point that's what I was worried about here, was the hardening defenses like it did. So I'm not going to be able to get anything there on A, and I was worried about that happening with B. I kind of screwed that up and should have put it on A and then just held on to the EX, and I didn't. So as you see there, rock press, really because of the shields, doesn't cause me much of a problem here. Now I've got fixed dice on, so I'm seeing I'm a little bit low on Valifor. I'm going to be able to make some breaks here, move these guys back. All right, so I was able to get through with B here. This again, I should have had this is where I get a little concerned with my free skills, but with beat rush, it's able to really get me down. As you see, we get through here. And surprisingly, and what I forgot to mention with B, when it first went down under 79, I thought the defense was going to go way up, and it didn't. So I didn't stress as much. The problem with what I wanted to do is I wanted to have Setzer's freeze joker up then, but because of that, I'm going to be able to kind of wait and use it a little bit later. But I am going to want it a little bit for another chance. So getting the launch here, because again, with the shields, I'm not stressing out too much. Yuna's not going to be bad. Setzer's never an issue. Going to go ahead right now before the shields come up, and I was really hoping to set this up to where the bosses had taken a turn so I could run through this and not harden the defenses. I like to start with an Energy Nova to kind of refresh all that buff. No need to use Asuna, so I'm going to go 3 skills here of Energy Ray to cause a lot of damage. I'm going to go ahead and pull or break A at that point. Now the shields are going to be up on that one at this point. Like I said, I wanted to give myself an extra turn. Yuna's going to be able to just really rip through this stuff. As you can see, 2.5 million damage. It's not bad. It's able to really give A some problems. The hardening of the defenses was what I was worried about, which is why I went ahead and just freeze jokered right here so that nobody could, or the big reason why is so that nobody could gain any brave, which means I wouldn't take any HP damage. That was what I wanted to avoid. And thankfully, because of that, when these guys start delaying the heck out of me here, I got shields up. As you can see here, the bosses really aren't hitting hard enough to take the shields down. So it's going to be great, and they can't really, except for that was rough. But they can't really break through here. My bigger concern, as you can see, Yuna and Tifa have 4 shield buff turns left. So I got to be careful here. I know watching this that I got to pay very close attention. I wasn't paying as close attention to A here with the orb like I should have. So I was able to get through the shields there with that. And thankfully with that, Yuna's VT attacks bypass the shields because there's no brave hit. So it's just all battery here. All right, here comes B. So now it's time to let Tifa do a little bit of work here. We're going to first go after the shields. Beat Rush is able to take the shields out. Yuna coming up. I'm going to check the Asuna because I wanted to make sure I was able to get one more turn in with the shields up, because at this point Tifa's in trouble. Yuna's going to be in trouble. I know I got to get A back just a little bit in order to get the shields back up. Now I did notice that A had a freeze joker back up, but with Tifa coming up through, and this is where I was getting ready to hit the AA again. Trying to decide what do I want to do here, so I go ahead and I know because I need to get the shield up. I use the EX. All right, at this point, time to get the bitter end shield up. So I refresh all of the shield buffs on everybody. 70k shield, that's a pretty stout shield, and I realized, okay, I better start putting some force in there into B. As you see, I kind of realized, oh wait, I don't have any more fixed dice buffs on anybody. So I'm debating whether or not to push him back. I go ahead and use the freeze joker here because I got through it with B. I said, okay, I'm going to be going heavy duty here with B. Going with the meteor crusher. That's going to take him down under 29. I want to make sure that he can't elevate himself, or as close to his 29 as he can. Wanted to make sure they couldn't elevate themselves or gain any more damage. Especially with Yuna here. Her shield's going to be the big one unless they do a AoE attack. So Yuna's the one I'm the most concerned about here with her attacks. And I got to make sure that I stay very careful here with this. So I will buff right here. Come back with Energy Ray. Get myself a turn. And then I realize, oh wait, I got dive bomb. So I start spamming the dive bomb here a little bit more. It's like, let's get the rainbows back up because Yuna's not really hitting for a whole lot of damage here. I'm going to be able to, this will get B underneath 20. There you go. And that's what I was really looking to do with that. He wasn't going to be able to power up and get that huge amount of brave. So I'm going to battery cry here to really take him down some more. And then follow it up one good time with Beat Rush, where I can get most of my strength from. Now this is where it gets a bit of a race. I didn't play it as clean as I would have hoped here because of that. So as you can see, I'm starting to run out of debuffs. Thankfully, I'm not running out of shields just yet. Bosses are down, but I know I'm running out of time. All their defense down buffs and everything else. It's like, okay, let me get this guy back. So as you see, I start pushing B back instead of using the EX. With this, I'm going to use that last Beat Rush to get A down. I'm pushing B back just a little bit more. Trying to get an extra turn here for Yuna. I know they're not going to cap anything out, but I just wanted to try to get them both here at the same time. So I was getting Asuna in order to get those guys back up in front in case I needed to do it. I figured, okay, I got plenty of shields. I got 3 turns left here. Tifa I was a little worried about with her shield, especially with that all attack coming on A with what I had. So as you see now, A is pretty much out of debuffs at this point. So I'm debating back and forth. Okay, do I push A back or do I go with the dive bomb? So I went ahead and refreshed the rainbows. Bring him down just a little bit. Going to go ahead and Energy Blast because that's going to be, for Yuna, probably one of the best attacks she's going to have at that point. Now, start getting a little bit worse. That's why I go after A there. Thankfully, I still had one shield buff on Tifa, so I was like, okay, at this point I'm good here with A. They're going to hit the heck out of me, but they're not going to push me back. And I thought that was actually going to be an all attack, but then it missed both Yuna and Setzer, so Tifa didn't go back very far. As you can see, boy, that Brave went way up there on A, which would have made it, if I hadn't been using Freeze Joker, would have made it real tough. So I went ahead and red carded. Tifa's finishing up there with the Beat Rush, and like I said, this was, boy, was this rough. Several attempts, several tries. Turn order made such a big deal. Misplaying the first one made such a big deal. So as you can see, it took me a few turns less here this time with that. So this team, while doable, definitely you need a little RNG because I tried it a few different ways. If I wasn't getting the turn order in the right place, if I couldn't get those guys broken, it was just messy and it was awful. So I hope that this video has been helpful for you. Please let me know, like or comment. Let me know if there's anything else I can answer for your problems you're having. Be patient with it. This team will do it, but you do need a little bit of luck from the RNG gods. All right, take care. See you soon.